Hello, and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 136 for February 17th, 2015. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and host of this week's podcast. And today I'm joined by...
Burn1, the special guest coordinator.
I'm Flutterguy317, and I'm the media manager. And this week I'll be editing again. Yay.
And we are missing a Joel this week.
Joel's doing some Valentine stuff with...
Apparently he decided that Valentine's Day was more important than recording the Cutie Art Crusaders.
He has this thing he calls a girlfriend. Nerd.
He's going through a hard time right now. Everybody kind of slips into these bad patterns, and these bad habits and these bad decisions. So we're hoping that he gets out of it soon.
Pretty sure they have
he is going to be away this
girlfriend
week.
Things.
Yeah. So,
in all honesty, though, congratulations and happy Valentine's Day, Joel and Silver.
I don't care.
Whoa.
Forget him. He didn't even come to the podcast.
He didn't, but
what a bum.
He sent all of us Valentines on DeviantArt.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, they were all really offensive.
And then
that was great.
And we all sent Valentines to Burned, and he hated them.
Oh yeah, no, it was fantastic. It was great. Yeah.
Now, can we talk about how Burned hates fun and love? Mostly love.
You sent him his stupid pictures of DeviantArt.
I sent you 10 Valentines.
5 notes. Oh my goodness.
Do you know how many people
who sent me 5 notes, and it's all stupid pictures of cats and memes.
Do you know how many people in the world would love to get 5 to 10 Valentine's Day cards
from the same person who I talk to every week?
Specifically me. A lot of people.
Yes.
A lot of people. So you know what? You should just shush and take your Valentines and enjoy them. So the thing is, right? So the reason why Joel is away and we're not, other than the fact that we're all single and he's not, is because he's a day forward, because that's how Australia works. Mm-hmm. So he's right now, as of time of recording, on Valentine's Day, which is Saturday the 14th. But that means that we are currently sitting in Friday the 13th.
Ooh.
So that's cool.
Spooky.
I've always liked Friday the 13th because I always thought that people's superstitions were dumb.
Yeah.
So I've always really enjoyed it. I mean, like when you're like 10 and you decide these things, you're not thinking about being edgy, but nowadays when you're like, I like the number 13, people are like, oh, so edgy,
No. When you were 10, you were the edgy kid.
But for the record, I've liked 13 my entire life, and I think Friday the 13th is really cool. And actually, I think I've mentioned this before in the podcast, but I'll do it really quickly. Friday the 13th is an extremely lucky day for me because I had a string of like 4 or 5 Friday the 13ths where I kept finding money. Mm-hmm. Like whether or not it be on the street, in a jacket pocket, whatever, I found like tons of money on Friday the 13th for some reason.
Finding money is awesome. Can I tell you?
Finding money is always awesome.
I tell you about like my Friday like 2 weeks ago? I think it was Friday. Too bad I'm gonna. So I was at school. I guess it doesn't matter. I was at school and I'm walking to my next class from my first class, and I'm like tired because I just woken up, and I'm like going to my next class, and I'm like blah, feeling cruddy. I'm walking and I see $1 on the ground. I'm like, oh, $1. So I go to pick it up and it was $2. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I found $2 on the ground. Like, it's awesome. And I look around and it's like, nope, it's no one's money because I'm in the middle of campus and no one's around. And so I pocket the money and go to my next class. And I'm like, this is cool. I got $2. So then after I'm done with that class, I go to the food cart and they're like, hey, if you follow us on Twitter, your meal, instead of being $7 plus tax, will be only $2 with no tax. So and I'm like, what? Like $2 for the delicious meal? And
But I have $2.
I know! And I was like, I was going to follow you on Twitter anyway.
Suckers!
And so I got basically a free meal because I found the $2 on the ground. So I handed them the crumpled up dollars that I found on the ground. It was great.
Cool story,
fantastic day. Fantastic. Made me feel great.
I thought that you were going to be like, I reached down for the $1 bill and then it started moving, and so I chased it for the next hour.
And then it was just some guy with no pants and a fishing rod.
Why is he going to have no pants, Bert? Why is he going to have no pants? Because it's Valentine's Day, Bert.
Exactly.
This is what we do on Valentine's Day.
Love is in the air, and so is his pants.
Speaking of Valentine's Day, Ted, you were horrifically sick.
Wow. What a transition. Yeah. I came down with like the flu or something on Monday, and
died for a little bit.
Yeah, died for like the whole week.
Yeah,
and
such is love.
Yeah. I mean, these guys cheered me up a bit, so thank you. But
I think I sent you a picture of a fox.
yeah.
And that's about it. So, I mean, I'm a great friend. I think I played Civ a lot in your honor.
Oh, you feel like
thank
dying?
you.
Here's a fox.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, though, when I saw that fox and you were like, "Here's a fox to cheer Ted up" or whatever, it was like, "Aw."
That was Joel.
I smiled for the first time in like 2 days.
It sounds like some sort of like awful like kid with cancer story. Like, I've spent the last 6 months in the hospital, and then you sent me this picture of a fox, and I smiled for the first time.
Today's a real
Oh
good
my
Valentine's
goodness.
Day, and he died next week.
We should at some point just do like a podcast where it's just us talking for an hour. I think we've gotten to the point. Where we could probably
Just
swing
making really
Probably.
bad jokes too the entire time.
that.
Yeah.
Like these
great.
intros have gotten more and more extended as we've gone along. Like eventually, there's just not going to be.
We
any
could do that on the YouTube, and then we could all drink while doing it, because I'm doing that right now, and then it would be great, and we'd basically
Why to
just be-
see the way you phrased that was just like so that we could mask my alcoholism with other people drinking.
It's
Right?
like it's a
Yeah.
social. I'm a social alcoholic.
Yeah, it's only social, guys. Yeah. What else? What else was there?
only drink when I'm
Oh
talking
yeah,
to
you're gonna
other
be away for
people.
the next 2 weeks, Ted.
Yeah. I'm going on vacation to escape this bitter cold that's kind of enveloped the northeast United States.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Barbados.
Yeah. So he's not going to be here for the next
vacation.
2 weeks. In
Yeah.
other news, Ted is now dead to me, and I'm looking for a new best friend. So.
Can I fill that
I was
position?
dying. I was dying, and now I'm actually dead to you.
Yes. That's my headcanon is that you actually died from the cold, so I don't have to deal with the reality where you go to Barbados and I don't.
Oh.
So.
See, I'm convinced that Barbados is just some dude from Futurama. I'm not convinced that it's actually an actual
No,
place.
you thought Barbados was in Mexico.
Yeah, it was basically Mexico, and then we talked about it a little more, and now it's basically Jamaica, and now it's basically Cuba. So it doesn't matter.
It's not
It's
basically
some
Mexico.
weird island next to Mexico and Florida that no one cares about.
It's not even. Okay.
Pretty sure-
It is closer. Bernd, it is like so much closer to South America than it is to Florida or Mexico.
Yep.
Like it's
It's
right off the coast of
basically a
Venezuela.
glorified Hawaii on the wrong side of the continent.
Wrong side. Oh my goodness! I like the fact that you've taken this joke and you've you found yourself in this little like ditch on the side of the highway, and you're like, you know what? I can make this a really big hole. Like it can be a nice place. It can be home.
Like how this started is when you're like, I'm going to Barbados. The only thing I thought about is like, oh, Barbados Slim from Futurama. I didn't even know it was a place.
I also did throw a little bit of twang on Barbados when I said it accidentally.
That and you were like, I'm gonna go to Texas, but you've already been to Texas and back from Texas, and then you were leaving
It's true.
again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Texas and Barbados are basically the same place, right? Blake?
Exactly. It's probably just people in funny hats. It's all the same.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
I'm sure they get along great.
I'll let you know if I see any funny hats while I'm there.
You've probably seen some Texans.
In Barbados.
All right.
Let me know
Yeah,
if you
maybe
see
not.
more fat white Americans than you do locals.
Dude, Barbados is like the nicest place ever. Seriously,
Yeah.
Go down to Barbados. Like they
Come down to
love
Barbados.
everyone. It is a. I'm glad that we're talking about this on Valentine's Day because that is a country of love. And maybe it's just because they realize that tourists give them like 99% of their income, but like everybody is so happy to see everybody. Like that's just how I feel about the island. Probably it's because they live on like paradise
yeah.
island.
All right.
They don't have
so
to put
how
up with
much,
this cold.
How much did they pay you for that advertisement? Come
A
on.
lot of money,
That's up.
like a lot of
Free
money.
By the way-
vacation to Barbados?
I'm actually going to Barbados for the next 6 months.
By the way, this
Yeah.
podcast is sponsored by Barbados.
I wish it was.
Barbados
Dude, we get
Slim.
free trips to Barbados.
Dude, that would be awesome.
It's not a very big country. We might be able to swing this.
Yeah.
That's awful. It's much bigger than we could ever swing. I don't even think we could swing like horse promotions.
No. We can't.
All right,
We can't
should we-
get like official show sponsorship. Like.
Yeah. Should we do the show
Did
thing?
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Did you know that horses can't do limbo?
Really?
So what?
It's a fact.
Sorry, no, I'm sorry. It sounded like you just died at the end of that sentence. You didn't actually finish.
No,
You said to me. You said you know that horses can't do limbo.
Limbo. Like everybody.
Limbo. Okay.
Yeah.
Not dilemma.
Because Barbados Slim was really good at limbo in Futurama.
I have limboed in Barbados. Fun fact.
Really?
I knew it.
I have. And then I watched someone limbo underneath a flaming pole, which was really impressive. The limboers, the Limbonians in Barbados are really good from my experience, from past experience.
Probably their national sport.
We not talk about let's just talk about Barbados the next 15 minutes. I
So
really want to go to
while I'm
Barbados.
down there, I should look for like limbo poles and like limbo competitions and stuff.
You should look for small, colorful horses.
Yeah. Dude, I should bring a small, colorful horse and take pictures of that small, colorful horse.
Be that guy.
Not even a pony, just like a small,
Yeah.
small horse, like a literal, like real life pony.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spray painted.
Ride around in Barbados.
That's awful. Don't ever do that. Nobody listening to this spray painted pony.
Don't we have art or
Do you like the
something?
fact that I'm trying to turn it into an hour-long podcast that has nothing to do with art? It's great. It's great. All right, let's move on to the art section.
All right, so I guess I'm up first for art.
Yep.
And
You are.
I decided because I was sick for the past week, and as kind of a yay, I'm getting better present to myself, I'm gonna do 2 pieces this week.
You are such a bad liar.
No, it's because these are kind of quick, simple pieces that we can talk about quickly.
And Joel's not here.
And Joel's not here, so.
There you go. 4 pieces.
Yep. So the first piece that I wanted to bring up is called For Science by Captain Pudge Muffin. And this is the textless version. There's a slightly more risque texted version available on his DeviantArt.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ted. It's just chest nuzzle fluffle things.
Yeah. This
Keep that
popped
in.
up a few days ago, February 8th, actually. And I don't know. I just really like it. It's cute. It's adorable.
It's super cute.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Next piece. No, but yeah, no, it's really adorable. Captain Pudge Muffin has started really upping his game lately in terms of like artistic quality. He's really, I think he kind of launched himself on a couple of pieces that he did that got really, really popular, and so he kind of looked at that and went, wow, I should put out more like this, and so there's a lot of really good pieces lately. He's started to experiment a lot with shading and I wouldn't necessarily, like, there was a lot of pieces before that I might have favored. There's a lot of artists out there where I would favorite their work, but I wouldn't necessarily feature them. And I think Captain Pudge Muffin for the longest time was kind of like that. But there's been a lot of pieces recently where he's really stepped up his game to a point where I think I might want to feature a couple of them, which is really awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Stepping up his horse game, yo. For me, it really started with that comic he made with Twilight and Rainbow Dash. So, like, I love you, I hate you, hold me comic.
The Princess
Yeah,
of
that
Mood
one's
Swings.
great.
I don't remember if we talked about it on the show. I don't think we did, but you guys should go check that out because it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to. I think that one was a big one that kind of helped him take off.
Forget it. We'll put it on the screen. Look at it. It's cute. It's a 50th
It's cute.
surprise.
Adorable. Yeah. I don't know. I think that like the premises of his pieces have been getting a little bit sharp, like more focused, and his style is becoming more crisper and like I don't know,
More defined.
Yeah. So yeah, like you, I really enjoy kind of bringing up more and more of his pieces.
Yeah. And it's Valentine's Day, so I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of shippy.
Yeah.
So I guess shipping is like the Valentine's Day thing to do, right?
I guess,
like if you're not shipping yourself with someone, you ship other people, right?
Of course, this doesn't
Exactly.
really ship rarity in Rainbow Dash. It ships rarity with Rainbow Dash's chest fuzz.
Yeah.
So,
Close
I
enough.
mean, yeah.
Rainbow Dash, don't let her do that. Find someone who appreciates you for everything you got, girl.
Not just your chest fuzz.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. I do like how Captain Pudge Muffin kind of used eyes a little bit more to display emotions in this piece. Like Rainbow Dash's retinas and pupils are really small. Like she's like really nervous and scared. Like what the heck is Rarity doing? And Twilight is like big-eyed, like
Blank stare kind of thing.
yeah, really cute.
Yeah, and there's there's a lot of little touches that I find quite funny. So Rainbow Dash has got little feathers that are it's a nice little detail, and there's if you'll notice, the heart monitor
Yeah,
is
it's
actually
blushing.
blushing as well, which is
pretty
funny.
good.
Yeah, that's pretty cute.
So that's pretty cute. I really like the way that he has displayed Rainbow Dash's hair. Not only in the style, which is completely different. She's got like this like slick back style, which I think is really cool. It's kind of like a shorter haired version of Dash, which I think looks really good because of her athleticism. But also like just the look of the colors and how they blend together, you know. I've never really liked the concept of like having these straight lines to define hair color. It really depends whether or not it can look like realistic. Like I think, for example, Burned, the picture that I'm looking at on Skype right now in your OC, the lines, the separating lines for the color are vertical, so it makes sense, you know. But sometimes the horizontal lines don't always look like they make the same amount of sense. Whereas in here, it's a little bit like scragglier and it mixes more. So
it's coming from the top of her head too.
That's really good.
Yeah. And I guess that's kind of what they're trying to go for in the show. Like Rainbow Dash's main, if you look at its show style, has these kind of back and forth zigzags in there that are kind of going for a more scraggly look, but it's kind of tough to do in just vector/flash animation.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Yeah, I think this piece did turn really cute though. Something that I want to kind of, I don't know, maybe point at a critique at is like Harry. Wow, I almost called her Harity. Again, this happened before. Rarity's hairline, like, see it kind of behind her little unicorn pointy thing there. It's
like aligned weird.
It's kind of like off to the side. I don't know. It's more of his, I guess, style choice, you know, to make that all their hair unique, you know, like Twilight's hair tied up and like none of their hair is kind of like more show accurate. It's kind of like his way. Like even Rarity's hair, it's not doing the curl thing. Her like bangs are doing just like a flip up. You know what I mean?
Right. A flop.
Yeah. What's funny is actually talking to Captain Pudgemuffin while he was making this piece, and he had to redo Rarity's face. He had everything done, and then like he had Rarity's face done, and he realized it was like super wonky and awful or something, and then he refused to show us, and he wouldn't show me what the face looked like, so he deleted it and then saved it and then like redid it, and this is what it looks like now.
Interesting.
So I thought it was just funny that he got so far into the process of making this piece, then he was like, "Oh God, her face is awful," and just like completely redid it.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Well, all right, I'm gonna move on to the next piece then that I chose, which is called "Flutter Valentine" by Suzui. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Suzui.
Suzui. There's a U in there.
Yeah,
there's two U's actually. Two eyes.
Suzui. Sasuke.
And this is Fluttershy holding a Valentine, so it's actually like a Valentine's themed piece. So
kawaii.
Yeah.
Kawaii this.
I really like how this artist, I don't know if it's a she, I hope it's a she.
Let's look. Together.
Hey, it's a she. Hey, I really like how this
United
artist
States.
Depicted Fluttershy's eye. And I'm.
You didn't even use a pronoun. You went to look for the gender, and then you were like, "This artist."
I know.
You said she. It's okay. Go on.
Okay. I really hope that she. No, sorry. I really like how she did Fluttershy's eye in this piece. I'm kind of a sucker for really well done eyes in art pieces, or different eyes too.
Yeah, I think it's really important in art to not always. I mean, this is coming from a vector artist, right? So our jobs were kind of to make things as show accurate as possible when it came to like vector tracing and stuff, in order to provide, you know, resources for the community. But when you are an artist, you know, a lot of the times people are a little bit more afraid. They look to references, I think, a little bit too much. And I like it when artists take a concept that's simple, because it has to be simple, because as I think Burned mentioned, that it's flash animation, right? So it's you know, very difficult to create these huge complexities, although they're getting better over time. But, you know, in this case here, the artist has taken the character of Fluttershy and has expanded the design of certain aspects of her character. The wing is more complex, obviously. The hair is more complex, and it's not just a perfect copy. And then the eye is more complex too. They added layers in. They've made it look interesting to look at, as opposed to just pupil, iris, a couple of eye shines, bang, bang, boom, you're done. You know, the eyelashes are all extended. They kind of amplified the character, and I really, really like that. It's the same in the last piece where Captain Pudge Muffin changed the hairstyle slightly. It's an interpretation of the character, you know, because they obviously will still recognize it's the character, but I like it when people try different things and they don't just have like bog standard Fluttershy's hair goes like this, her eye looks like this, you know.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see these kind of show accurate but not show accurate pieces where like the anatomy is correct and like
the colors are correct.
Yeah, a lot of the body of the pony is very show accurate, but then like there's these little touches, like you said, with the wing and the hair and the eye.
I like the cheek.
It's fuzzy.
I like
very
the
fuzzy.
cheek fuzz. I try to do that in my own drawings to always incorporate fuzziness on like the cheek. There's something cute about it.
Yeah, it's really funny because the more I look at this fuzz stuff, the more it makes me think of birds. Because people when people draw birds, they draw the feathers as more fluffy than they normally are. Yeah. And so when people draw like fuzz on a character, oftentimes it looks like feathers. So now I kind of look at ponies as like a pony bird hybrid, which I know they've already got the wings, but like even the non-Pegasus ponies have started becoming like bird hybrids to my mind, just because they always have these like feather fluff.
I'm a pretty birdie.
No bird, your horse.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost weird in a way to think that, you know, there's feathers and there's also fur on Pegasi, like bird / horse.
Yeah,
but for whatever reason, it just blends in.
Yeah, and
it
works.
Magic.
More to your point, Rainbow Plasma. I want to call you Max. I'm sorry.
You can call me Max.
Her wing looks just like the fuzz on her face. You see, like how the artist does feathers. It's very similar to how the artist did the fuzz. Yeah. Sorta. I feel like the fuzz is kind of broken up into these two little spike things, where the feathers actually kind of have like a line down the middle in the shading.
So what you're saying is the cheek looks more like feathers, and the wing looks more like fuzz?
No. Well, the cheek looks like fuzz and the wing looks like feathers. So just similar. Because the whole thing, the whole horse is yellow, you know?
The whole horse. Whoa. All
it's
of it?
Yellow.
It's pretty yellow.
I don't know. There's pink on the butt.
I mean, that is a tattoo, clearly.
Whoa.
All right. Never mind.
I didn't know.
I'm sorry I even
was such
spoke.
Bad pony. Stop speaking, Burn.
Aw. Do you want me to send you another Valentine?
JK.
Do you want me to send you another Valentine?
No, don't do that.
Yeah, girl. No, actually, you know what? Fun fact. This one is actually a Valentine.
Yeah.
So I can actually, as we're speaking,
Ted
type in
already
Brenda
has.
1 and send it to you. Awesome. Great. Yeah, I also like the colors too. I find it very impressive that the artist managed to have a very pink background with Fluttershy's very pink hair and not have it blend together too much. I think part of that comes from the fact that the background is very soft. It's kind of blurred, whereas her hair is very sharp.
Yeah, I could see that. The blur and then the value, I feel as well. It's also very
value
light.
Stroke there.
But there's still some pink parts in like the sky that would be the same color as the hair, but then like the shading and the line art really breaks it up.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3 little things. The color is sometimes different, but a lot of it is like the blurs in the background, the black outlines, the value, all that kind of stuff. Very subtle little changes that add up over time when you put them together.
That's interesting. If you look at the crook in her hair right besides her muzzle, that's kind of where it blends in the most with the background, because the line art is kind of very faint there. And the color's pretty much the same, and the value is pretty much the same. But you look everywhere else, and like the line art is very thick and pronounced, and the value shifts and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's interesting. Not to mention that this artist put clouds in the background also, and then, I mean, obviously Fluttershy being yellow kind of stands out against the background herself too.
Yeah.
I like the hair. I think it's not necessarily voluminous. It's I don't know how you would say that.
Full of volume.
Volumaic.
Volumaic.
No, I don't think that's right.
I
He's
just
just
made up.
making that up.
No. But I like the stranding in it. there's like 3 or 4 different colors used for the stranding. There's the whites, the darker purples, the pinks and stuff. And I don't know, it gives it a kind of a flatter poofy look, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, do that.
Maybe.
Cover that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the color palette for this one's kind of simplistic. I mean, it's nice. It's basically 3 colors. It's the pink in Fluttershy's hair, and then like Fluttershy being yellow, and then the green, that's in her cutie mark and in her eye. And it's basically those 3 colors, which are kind of like primary colors.
Yeah.
Right? No.
Yes.
No, that would be blue, so it's green.
Wait.
It's off. So it's
Yeah.
like yellow,
No, you're right.
and then I guess a very light red, and then that light red's complement, which is a light green.
I think all these points are stretches.
Yeah. But they're 3
Yeah.
colors that are basically Fluttershy, and they work together, and they take up the whole of this piece is the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Nice piece.
Shall we move on to the next piece?
Yes.
All
Burned.
right. So Burned has another Valentine's related
But
piece here.
I had to click on one piece. All right. So, oh my god, I have a note. I hate you! Anyway, so the piece that I chose is called Cute Little Male Mare by Rainbow Screen. And I picked it because it was cute. And it was Valentine's related.
Yes.
Yay.
It is very cute. I think Rainbow Screen has a really awesome style. And she often has these huge, big, accentuated features like, eyes and ears and stuff like that really lend to like the cuteness of the character.
Cheek, too. She usually likes to poof out the cheek. Makes it
Yeah,
nice
you
and
can
round.
kind of see it here. It's not too pronounced in this piece, but you can kind of see it.
Yeah, and the pointy upturned muzzle too is kind of cute. Adds to the cuteness.
Yeah, it's kind of like an auto scrunch.
Mm-hmm.
I want that feature on my pony. Auto scrunch. $5 extra.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, you were just mentioning in the last piece the kind of like semi-voluminous hair, right? And volumetric? I don't know. And you get kind of a similar feeling, I think, in this piece.
The word was volumaic.
Well, so like it's not like fully 3D, but it's definitely not flat.
Yeah.
And that's a really good thing because you don't want you want very few things in a piece to look flat.
Well, it all
Maybe
depends
your
on
background.
what style you're going for, because you can do flat hair well, but it has to fit in with the rest of the piece.
Right, yeah. I think that's a big point, is that it has to kind of, well, and I mean, like, even that's debatable. I think if you want to go for the traditional like sense of like good, well-made art, then yes, it needs to fit in. But of course, there's all those genres of like abstract and interesting style decisions and choices that you can make. So
I mean, heck, your entire canvas could just be flat hair.
yeah. So I mean, like, it's hard to ever make like a firm point at it. But if you want to make art like this, I think it's the most common kind of art that's like doesn't stray too far into the realm of like crazy out there. Then you'll wanna make sure that your hair or any parts of your piece aren't too flat.
Yeah.
Which I think is a common misstep with artists, or not necessarily a misstep, because it's just something that a lot of amateur artists don't necessarily do. Things come out often looking very flat. Maybe because they're too intimidated to start shading or something, and they're not experienced enough.
The power of simplistic shading. And also the, like, the finer points of shading and making shading interesting. It's like it all has its little tips and tricks, just like line art does or anything else. Like a really good, I guess simple tip, or a tip that even like you can do in your own work if you're starting to do some like simple shading. A lot of people start with like cell shading, and you can stick with that. I mean, I would say this piece is basically cell shaded, but what breaks it up and makes certain parts of it a little interesting is there's aspects that are blurred. So it's kind of like in the concept of line art, where you have some areas that are thin and some areas that are thick. For shading, you have some areas that are very clean cut and sharp, and some areas that are very soft and gradiented. We've talked about this, I think, quite a bit. It's more like ancient, archaic episodes. But you can see a little bit of use of that here, obviously in her hair, where some areas are a little bit more blurred and soft, and some areas are very sharp, and there's a mix of that and a mix of the in-between. So like in her tail, tail, you can see like there's a few parts where it like rounds, where it like gradients. I guess like the most obvious spot is it's like right above that letter on the far left side of her tail, like right there. It's all blurry, and then like a very sharp, clean spot like on her hair, on her head, next to her ear and stuff. So like the play with that, kind of like going from soft to sharp to blurred to whatever can make basically basic cell shading into something that's very interesting and a lot more appealing to the eye. And to do it, you just basically start by cell shading, and then you can play with the blur tool a little bit. And I mean, it's a very quick, I guess, what's the technique that a lot of artists use, a lot of really popular artists, some of artists that I really, really love.
Yeah. And something else you see in here is this kind of step shading too, like in her top mane, and also in like the start of her tail. There's got to be other places in this piece.
Her legs, even the letters have a little bit of it.
So that also adds something to it too.
Yeah, it's the concept of having a deep color where it's like the deep shade, and then having a secondary color that's kind of the lighter shade. It's basically just like steps in the shading, right, where it goes from light to dark, but you can break it up in cells like cell shading and have the darker aspects like in her hair where there's like the sort of dark and then it gets really dark. And a lot of artists like to play with which one of those that'll blur. Like some artists, their like style, their unique style choice is that they'll only blur the second shade, or they'll only blur the darkest shade, or like things that you can play with that or play and mix it up and whatever. And it's how a lot of artists make things unique. Yeah, and it ends up being super simple. You put a shade, you put a color, and then you just scribble on it with the blur tool, and there you go. You're friggin' a trill.
Whoa! Bam! Whoa! Shots fired!
So congrats. I guess everyone's a trill now.
You too can be a trill. Horse famous. You just gotta do a rainbow screen to trill too.
Burned. So this art piece. This art piece is actually for an interesting. It's for a con. It's called Brony Fair, and it's hosted in Germany. And it's actually coming up kind of soon, a couple months. So April 11th to the 12th, 2015. It's happening in Germany. That's doing some sort of crowdfunding thing. It's pretty cool. We always like to support cons and stuff, especially in non-North America locations, just because there's so many over here. It's nice to see them in other locations so we can spread the Brony love. So yeah, if you want to go see her there, I guess she's going to that. So that's cool.
Neat.
Yep.
She's a German Brony.
I wish I could fly to Germany to go to a German horse convention. That would
be fun. Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool. Except for the fact that I can't speak German.
I can speak partial German. I can ask to go to the bathroom.
You're all set then.
I'd be set at that convention because I'd always know where the bathroom is.
Can you also order ein Bier?
Beer, please.
Yeah. So yeah, good work, Rainbow Screen.
Yeah,
it's very, very cute, which I'm glad because it's Valentine's Day.
Like the derpy.
He's obviously delivering a lot of like Valentine's. Maybe she's the one delivering all of my notes that I keep sending you, Bert.
Yeah,
unfortunately
that's
I can't.
How I'll
send
think about it, and then it will make me feel better at night.
Exactly.
I do like the depth of field with the letters kind of floating in front and behind her. It's cute.
You're talking really about like flat things, and none of these things that are flat letters look flat. They all have like some kind of volume to them. Yeah, they're bending and papering because that's a verb.
Jeez, who sends like really thick Valentines? Like,
it's shoved into there.
Yeah, it's like a pastry is shoved into that.
Horses aren't very good at shoving papers into envelopes with hooves, you know what I mean?
Really bad at
scrunched up paper.
Yeah, I don't think envelopes would necessarily be a thing that would work too well with hooves.
No.
More of a unicorn thing.
Yeah, I see that. Oh man, everyone must be jealous of the unicorn paper folding abilities. Origami is like
origami.
Yeah, origami is like a unicorn thing, you know?
Yeah.
Unigami. It's the best I could come up with.
Unicornagami.
Unicorn me. All right.
Yep.
We're done here.
Yeah.
We're done here. Let's move on to the last piece that we have, which is my piece. Another Valentine's Day themed piece here. It's called The Song of the Unbroken by Fox and Shadow. Yeah, it's a beautiful Valentine's Day piece because it accurately depicts the cold depths of my heart.
I tried to stifle
Look, I just wanted to feature this one. I didn't have a Valentine's Day piece, okay?
So good.
Coincidentally, it also happened to be a horribly frozen piece.
With like birds and buzzards in the background.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe those are ravens.
Okay.
They could be crows. Let me check.
What about jackdaws?
They're crows. So
Okay.
never mind. I was going to tell you a funny story about how the university that I go to, its thing is a raven. Never mind. Who cares?
Yeah, screw
moving on.
university.
We're done with for that. So so yeah, I really like this piece because it has a lot of texture to it. Not only in the obvious, not only in the obvious like bottom left and right hand corner with the ice coming up, but also the hair is like really brushy and has these like particles coming off of it that looks almost like snow coming off of it, and the background is very brushy as well, and the crows give off this almost like this air of like grunginess, which of course is Fox and Shadow's thing. He's really, really good at doing grungy stuff. But this is in a different way, it's not his traditional like dip the piece of paper in coffee and then draw on it kind of style. It's more textured.
Just like
and
SOC.
Yeah. So it's really good. I really enjoy the different types of textures and the level of texture that's in this piece.
His OC likes coffee.
His OC does like coffee.
Yeah.
Is that his OC or is it his girlfriend's OC? No, it's his OC, isn't it?
Sure.
Sure. Great.
Eh.
Good talk.
To kind of go on that, I like how I guess layered the piece is almost just based on the value and the colors. So you have like this very front layer which consists of like this white kind of popping up from the two bottom corners, and then I would also consider the hair and in the mane and the tail kind of on that top layer, and then you have like the actual character, and then you have the background, and I don't know, it's interesting to me because it kind of seems like those are very distinct and they kind of pop from each other, but they all fit together.
They all sort of seem to blend too. Like I feel like the hair starts to blend into the background, like the white in the background, especially like towards the ends of it. So there's like a lot of blending going on, but there is still like a layering effect of that, that icy, snowy, blizzardy stuff in the foreground there, which is actually like physically you can see it overlapping the character. And then the hair, which does stand out because it is very white and bright, but it starts to blend into the whiteness that is, the white up above. But everything is doing this kind of like crazy blending. Like even like the crows in the background, like all the birds, like all their wings and things are all kind of like chalked up and chaotic and like all over the place. And man, it paints all those friggin' birds. I feel like there's got to be some kind of Photoshop wizardry going on. Like there was like a crow or raven brush that he used to just like brush a bunch of friggin' ravens in there, especially in the background. You know what I mean?
Maybe he made his own, or maybe he copy pasted a bunch of them.
Yeah, there ain't no way that he painted all those, because you can see some of them are similar. So, but like, so like there's some kind of like awesome bird brush that he used, but it still created an awesome effect. That's not to say that's any kind of like less awesome because if he actually used tools that were provided for him because he's intelligent.
Yeah. Well, there's another cool thing too, and you might not have noticed it because it took me a while, but if you look in the background, especially the top left and the top right-hand corner, there's giant crows like that are kind of like really, really faded.
Actual crows, like they're legitimate pictures of crows that he kind of like faded and photoshopped in there, and it's actually really funny to me.
And there's like a couple on like the left and right side, and I think there's a big one in the back, and there's these different like pieces incorporated into this piece, and it creates this really cool effect.
The crows in the background, how they're kind of like looking off to the side and they're kind of like super faded back, remind me of like those like wolf t-shirts with like the wolves like howling at the moon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
So like is this like a 3-crow piece?
I could see this being on a t-shirt. I like it.
It would just
it's really good.
It would be on a t-shirt and it would say, "This is what my heart feels," or something like that.
My heart.
This is what my heart feels.
My heart's icy feels.
Yeah. Well, the crow's direction as well also lends itself to the sense that things are kind of expanding out of this character. The crows are flying away. You know, the character's at the center of the piece, and so the crows facing those outward directions kind of brings the piece out at the top. The ice at the bottom kind of brings it in, but then it expands out at the top.
Caw! I never thought I'd have
Burn is
two
now
different
crow.
reasons to caw in an episode.
Okay.
It's a happy moment in my life.
Yeah, congrats.
Just let me have this.
It's a milestone.
Wow.
You'll never achieve that again.
I mean, we made bird jokes earlier, feathers on ponies' faces, and now we have feathers on
true.
birds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other than the texture and stuff, that's really all I wanted to talk about in the piece. I don't think that the pony itself, other than the hair, is like extraordinary or noteworthy. It's more like the surrounding pieces that make the piece as good as it is.
I do like the hair though. It's very wispy, and
It is good.
yeah, it's like Bern was saying. It kind of blends in, but like it I don't know. It's thicker in some parts and thinner in some parts, and it's sparkly in other parts. It's nice.
I mean, it's all how he brushed it. Like, everything on this is like basically really, really good techniques of like Photoshop brushes or digital brushes, basically. So like in the hair and the crows and the snow stuff up front, like to do that all digitally, you have to have like a very good brush library and how you use it. And Fox and Shadow has become really, really good at utilizing different techniques for stuff like that.
Yep.
Oh, but Bernd, using custom brushes is cheating and it doesn't count. You have to use MS Paint pixel by pixel, make that pixel.
Actually use kid pics and you just get a bunch of crow stamps. And you're like,
Crows. I like crows.
Did you guys ever do like little like stick figure battles with kid pics back in the day?
I don't know what Kid Pix is.
Oh man, that's Apple Macintosh original, dude.
I think I
had
remember
Math
it.
Circus. That's what I had.
I think I remember Kid Pix, but I don't remember what we did with it.
It was like an 8-bit like art thingy, and you like painted with like pixels. It was super cruddy, but you could make stamps, and so you made little cruddy like pixel men and like soldiers and like tanks and stuff, and you could like stamp them together. Yeah.
All right,
Only
we should-
90s
guys.
kids will get this.
We should do a Kid Pix episode, and we only feature art
No.
that's made in Kid Pix.
Oh my god, no.
So, like, now I'm having huge nostalgia, like, waves with Math Circus. Because that game was, like, my childhood. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to anybody who knows what I'm talking about.
Shout out to 90s kids, am I right?
Am I right? All right, one last thing, because I keep forgetting to bring this up whenever we talk about Fox and Shadow. But has anybody noticed, like, he and his girlfriend have the two, probably the best plushies I've ever seen,
Oh my goodness.
made by Nazagori.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot that.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have
OC ponies.
the sickest flow, bro.
Right.
like both
He's
his
true.
one, which is like Coffee Bean, and his girlfriend's, which is Blazing Gear. Both of them have like the coolest hair and like all of these accessories, and like I can't imagine, like, I know it was like an art trade where she got like a bunch of art. I cannot imagine like the value of these plushies. Must be ridiculous, but they look so
Right.
good.
And that cloth on like that is Fox and Shadow's OC, like the blue cloth. Like, what? For the hair?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and like you know, like I want one of these plushies, and like it's not my
Fox
OC.
and Shadow, can I get a plushie of your OC?
like I want one of these plushies just because they look so good.
Nezukoring, if you're watching, you can like hug it up.
My mailing address is 123
Horse
my house.
Avenue, Brony Lane.
Brony, Canada. It's a new city that I founded.
I
Consists of my
made up
room.
in my fanfic.
All right. Well, those were all good art pieces. So yeah, thank you to everyone for making those. You didn't send it in to us, so I don't know why I'm thanking you. But I'd like
Thank
to
you
thank people.
for
I did the
making
same
them.
thing last week. I don't know what it
Everybody-
is, but yeah.
Everybody who had an art piece in this episode, and everybody who didn't have an art piece in this episode,
Yeah.
give yourselves a hand.
Thank you for being you, Boo. All right.
That's everybody. Everybody must clap. All right, someone has to go to the question section.
Okay.
Leave all that in. Leave all that in. It's gold. It's gold.
I was never going to take it out.
That's another one.
All right, so we're going to move on to the questions. The first question is sent in by Sonnenblitz, and it...
Sonnenblitz! We have to yell his name. This is a tradition.
He's German, too.
When not discussing art or battling crustaceans, what are the regular jobs of your OCs, and where in Equestria do they live?
So I have this backstory, right, that goes along with my character. And I think I've said it on the show, but basically, long story short, she controls temperature. And she controls the temperature of certain areas or the area around her, or she can pinpoint it with magic, kind of like Twilight can levitate certain things.
So she's a spa pony, and she runs the sauna.
She can do like different things like that. So I don't really know what her job would be.
She's a spa pony. She runs the sauna, and then for when she nightlights, she goes and runs the freezers for department stores.
Yeah, I feel like
or the morgue.
I feel like it'd kind of be the way that I get it in Ponyville is kind of like they live in some sort of like utopia where you don't need to work all day. You need to work like a couple hours a day. You know, like theoretically we're supposed to be doing, but we're not because we all work ourselves into the ground. So like they work a couple hours a day. So I think she would do kind of like different jobs depending on the day. So like one day she'd work the sauna, and then she'd like go over and like help, like maybe she'd help like turn the clouds into snow if they need to snow on something, or like, I don't know. Just like all these different odd jobs to do with temperature.
I'd like to think that she just has one of those circular thermostats that she just walks around with and like sticks it on buildings and then just turns the dial and, you know, controls the temperature that way.
I like to think she's like super edgy and she's like an assassin and goes and makes officials too sweaty and they fall off podiums. Yeah.
What?
Or maybe even edgier than that. She's like emo and she like runs the morgue and like keeps bodies cool.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Really, really lovely. So yeah. So I don't know. I haven't decided whether or not she's good enough to just make fires and ice at will, or whether or not she just does that when she's angry. So maybe if she can do that, then she'll do that as well. She'll use that power. I don't know. Someone come up with a job for
Didn't
that.
we like create that joke on the show once where it's like her special talent is just making people like uncomfortably sweaty or like a little too cold, so like, oh, where's my sweater?
Yeah, like that would be her evil like villain.
Yeah,
thing.
that was
like,
right.
That's what she does for like fun. She like torments people. Like she'll be sitting on a bench and someone will walk by.
Is it too hot or is it too cold?
It's really cold. It's really like my neck is really cold, but my butt is so hot.
Just like,
all right, your guys' turn. Let's move away from that.
Bernd, we started to come up with some backstory before this, didn't we?
Did we for mine?
But would his job be raised by wolves? That's
no, not that crap. For my OC, my regular job would be being the Batman. So
that's right. That's what it was. Yeah,
the Bat Horse, if you will. Right?
Half Batman.
Yeah, but he's half Batman because I'm only half Bat Pony, so he's like half Batman. So he's like the hero that Equestria needs, but not really the one it deserves, but sort of.
It's kind of like the hero that Equestria is kind of nice to have around.
Yeah,
but
it
like
doesn't
they don't really need it.
Yeah,
but it's kind of convenient at times.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't technically deserve it, but it could use something.
Anywho, throw a dog.
So that would be my OC's job, is like the half Batman. And someone's like, oh my gosh, I sort of need help here. I could do it by myself, but man, help would be really nice. Then my OC just comes like, I will save you, citizen. And then like, oh man, that was really kind to you. And then I just
I could have done that, but you did it faster, and that means I don't have to.
And I really appreciate that. And I just then I just whisk off into the night. And then where I live is I would live in like basically like a half cave.
Half cave.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a cave, but
just the basement's a cave.
Yeah,
because you haven't had time to renovate.
Like there's technically like a house, but it's like half like underneath of a cave.
Right.
So it's like kind of
the house is underneath.
Yeah,
the
it's
cave,
kind
so
of like sheltered by the cave.
Floor.
Like if you watch Adventure Time, where
I don't.
What's her name lives? Marceline lives, where she like lives in a cave. But there's like because it's funny because she's a vampire and she lives in a cave, but she actually has like a really nice house in the cave. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that scenario.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Half Batman. I like it. I like it. So
I'm
Ted,
sort of the night.
Ted, why don't you say yours, and then I'll tell you why yours is wrong, and I'll tell you what your OC should be doing.
Okay.
I'm joking.
But go on. I'm going to make the joke anyway.
That's true.
I'm nervous now.
Say it.
I guess my OC's day job would be like graphic design and stuff for everyone in Equestria for like businesses and stuff.
You have Bezier curves on your butt.
I know, I do. That's why.
Okay.
And
so
yeah.
my idea. Sorry, you're not. I'll let you finish.
Oh, I was gonna say that she probably just lives in Ponyville in a normal house,
Yeah,
not in
so
a
fine.
cave. You know?
But it has
Yeah.
a cute yard because she's a graphic designer, so she knows what
Yeah.
looks, so she knows what looks nice.
Exactly.
So my idea would be that you would measure butts. I'm joking. That's not it. My idea would be
She would make
because
Bezier curves for butts.
she would
Like
help shape
vector
butts.
them?
So my idea would be because your character is all about like it's related to vectoring, right? And vectoring is like about precision and like exact angles and stuff like that. And it's more mathematical.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking your pony would do really awesomely with like architecture. So you could like help set up like buildings and help design like really sturdy and interesting buildings and like always have the right angle with this kind of stuff. And so the people would come to you because you'd be the best at it. And you could just naturally kind of like see the angles that would work well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go with that now instead. Screw the graphic design thing. Like, I mean, she does that
I
on
want
the
a real
side.
job. I'm sorry, that's not. It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. Graphic design's a real job.
Yeah.
I like
So
the
yeah,
ass curves.
that's been my headcanon for like 2 years.
Really?
So yeah,
Have you ever told me about this? And I just
I
forgot.
have several times.
I must have just forgotten. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I like graphic design because architecture could work with graphic design.
Yeah.
It's just in a different way, you know, blueprints and
They're very similar.
schematics,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. And Joel obviously works in power lines because that's what he does in real life.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
He is his OC. I mean,
Do ponies have power lines? I mean, they have electricity.
yeah,
he actually makes all of the electricity in the world.
yeah.
Mm.
He
In
he
real
has-
life,
he-
not the pony.
He has to
real
deliver it by just running back and forth to people.
He just stands on a carpet all day and moves his feet really quickly.
Australian technology isn't very advanced, folks.
He's actually just like in a little gerbil ball all day. That's where he goes.
That's why he sometimes drops from the call when we're recording because
not running
he's not
fast
running
enough.
fast enough. Yeah.
Gets
That's
tired.
funny. Yeah.
Or-
What's the second question? We're running out of time.
Okay. Second question is: over all 4 seasons, what character has, in your opinion, had the most character development, and whose development do you like the most?
By Remislack.
By Remislack, yes, thank you.
Was Remislack the guy we met at Brony?
Yes.
Yes, it
He's
was
the Swedish guy. He's so
What a
cool.
Swedish bro. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
It's awesome.
Swede bro. Or was he Swedish or was he Hollandish?
No, he was Swedish.
Swedish?
Yeah.
We
Okay.
might have. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I'll go check it.
Forget it.
Hey, all right. So, which character has the best
Sweden. I looked it up.
aggression?
So who has the most character development, and whose character development do you like the most?
Who has the most character development?
I would say Twilight Sparkle because she's this friggin' main bloody character.
I would also
agree.
say Twilight Sparkle, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Twilight Sparkle has the most character development. Some of that is forced because she became an alicorn.
You're a princess now. Like it.
Yeah, but like she was a really like when Twilight met all the other main 6, their main personalities were kind of on display. But Twilight changed a lot, I think, in the first little bit when she was like exploring the other characters.
Well, and
and
she
kind of, like,
continued
learning
to
about
change, too, throughout the couple of seasons.
Because like the whole theme is her learning,
Yeah.
you know, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense.
Even when they
Now-
moved on from, like, the letters to Princess Celestia, like, she
Right,
was still
right.
learning stuff, so...
Now, that was obvious.
Yeah.
Easy answer for all of us. The hard question is the opinion question, which is, you know, which character progression do you like the most?
Sunset Shimmer.
I mean, that's
You heard it here, folks.
fine. He said all the seasons, not part of a season.
Yeah, that's true.
Part of the movie seasons. Season 1 and season 2 of the movie.
Equestria Girls Season 2 was so good.
Oh
No,
my goodness, girl.
I don't know. I like Fluttershy's character development, actually, because I think it portrays a realistic development in that it's not... Like, she doesn't learn her lessons all of a sudden. it takes her a lot of time, and like she still makes mistakes and still stumbles, and
she's still like socially anxious, and I like that too, where she's not. There wasn't one episode where she's like, like got over some social anxiety, and then the next episode she's like, oh my gosh, I can handle crowds now. There wasn't that like, oh, she's now superpower, I can do like something not anxious. She's still socially anxious, but she learns how to cope with that, or like things, whatever, to better herself.
And also
I liked that it wasn't just like magical characters best now.
Yeah, and like see, the thing is too, like her they didn't take it to a point where it's like, oh, she's no longer shy, she's fixed. Like it's people are shy, and that's okay, and she doesn't need to grow out of that necessarily.
Exactly.
She can make progress towards being in situations where she can't do anything about it, and so she'll live with it, and she'll work through it, right? And she'll be better at that. But at the end of the day, she's still shy, and that's her kind of character trait. And I think it's perfectly okay to be shy. So it's nice to see that they kind of encouraged the character not to change completely.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of agree on Fluttershy there. But I would like to give a special shout out to Rainbow Dash. Because I think
my
that
waifu has a special place in my heart.
Because my waifu always needs to be in everything I talk about. Let's not make that my waifu.
It's actually true.
So I think Rainbow Dash has had a lot of episodes in which she's learned a lot of lessons. The thing that annoys me is that they keep reverting her back to her like stupid self, like the stupid side of her that doesn't make decisions. And I put a whole rant. There was one episode where she was awful, in it, and I wrote a whole rant in it.
I sort of like that though, because it's like I feel like for a lot of people, even if they improve in life, there's still like a base character flaw that they fall back on. And I'm kind of putting that in show terms, but I even mean like even with my close friends, like even as they mature and like grow up and become adults, there's still that stupid kid I knew in high school in a lot of places. You know what I mean? Like even I do stupid crap that I don't like, and like I fall back on something that I've tried to grow up on, And I feel like Rainbow Dash falls under that, where she's kind of, that bullheaded tomboy or whatever, and is like really full of herself, and she's like had character progression, but she like falls back on that, and she like becomes that again, and then she catches herself like, oh crap, maybe I shouldn't be a douche horse, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, like, there are certain instances where she's shown a lot of character progression. I think the reading is a big example of that, and I really enjoyed the fact that they continued with that, and it was like a permanent character progression there. And the other reason why I say it is because she was part of an episode that I think was the best or the best educational or acceptance episode of MLP, which was the one where she had to take that Wonderbolts test, and Twilight had to figure out like how to teach Rainbow Dash the right things, because Rainbow Dash wouldn't study, and she didn't do well at like remembering all this different stuff, right? And that episode was so amazing to me because it was like teaching people that like people learn differently, and it presented in such a good way, and was so clever in the writing, and was one of my favorite episodes of all time. And so that kind of contributes in my mind whenever I think of character development and character progression. I think of that episode, and in that episode Rainbow Dash was the main one who was learning and developing as a character. So that always sticks out to me. So a special shout out to Rainbow Dash, but I do agree that Fluttershy is my favorite character development because of all the points that we mentioned before.
Bravo.
Yay.
So yeah, that's it for the podcast. We're done with the questions. We're done with the art.
Yep.
We just need to do the plugs, and I am going to do the plugs this week because I never get to do the plugs. So I'm going to do it and see how well I do. So, unlike Joel, I'm going to start with the most important ones first. We have a DeviantArt, which is cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. We also have an email, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. You can send us in stuff there, whether or not it be art recommendations, questions, or your favorite moments. Make sure to link us those. We're starting to accumulate some of them slowly. So if you have any favorite moments from the last 3 years of Cutie Art Crusaders, send us in those to the email. We also have a YouTube page. You can go to check out all these episodes, youtube.com/cutieartcrusaders, and a Picarto where you can check out our live stream every week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is picarto.com/blah blah blah Cutie Art Crusaders. Go find us on there. I'm sure you can figure it out. And finally, we have some social media sites, which is the Twitter, which is at Cutie Art Crusade, the Facebook, facebook.com/Cutie Art Crusaders, and Tumblr, which is cutieartcrusaders.tumblr.com.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's everything for the podcast. Now, I'd like to open it up to my fellow co-hosts. Is there anything else that you guys would like to talk about in the minute before we have to wrap things up?
No. Surprisingly.
Fantastic.
I would like to creepily whisper to all of our fans that I love you, and I hope you have a good Valentine's Day.
Yeah. I hope everyone had a happy Valentine's Day. I hope everybody enjoyed the Valentine's Day stream that Agamnensar, Shinoda, Cheerme, and myself had. We haven't actually had it yet as of time of recording, so I'm just going to assume it's great.
It was, everything crashed and burned.
Lovely.
I love you all.
So yeah, that's everything this week. Whether or not you're on the live stream or on YouTube, we love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma.
My name's Bird.
I'm Flutterguy317, and I'll be your Valentine.
And we'll see you guys next week.
I'll be dreaming about you.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you.
Can you just not be creepy for like 2 seconds?
Gosh, Bird.
I love you so much.
Just say bye.